Welcome to Off Topic but On Point. I'm Adette de Beer, and here we embrace the unscripted, the unconventional, and dare I say it, the unexpected. Because sometimes the best breakthroughs happen when you go off topic. Each episode, we dive into business, leadership, and life, exploring the moments that challenge us, shape us, and push us forward. So, whether we're tackling entrepreneurship, collaboration, mindset, or even navigating resistance, one thing's for sure, we'll always bring it back to what matters. So, get ready for candid perspectives, thoughtful insights that will keep you engaged, inspired, and maybe a little bit uncomfortable in the best possible way. As usual, I have with me my beautiful friends, Dr. Janine de Cabo, also known as the Intentionalist, and Pastor Christo Pretorius, the Expander. Let's go.
What is something you now ask AI that 2 years ago you would have worked out for yourself?
Everything.
Wat eet ons vanaand? What are we eating tonight?
I was going to say the same thing. That's also my go-to. Like, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
There's a couple of things, not specifically in like priority or the volume, but like let me just run a couple of scenarios. So one of the things I like to do is, any like scriptures or portions in the Bible that I'm working out, I would give my opinion on or my interpretation of the scripture or my revelation, if you want to be really spiritual. And then I would say to AI that, based on, theological evidence and biblical historical proof, he needs to prove my point wrong. So I want him to tell me everything that's wrong with it. And then obviously, we start having a conversation and we have a bit of a back and forth. So I quite enjoy doing that, like asking him questions on, some Bible topics and my interpretation of it. But I want him to prove me wrong. So obviously it comes from a real theological backdrop. And every now and then he says to me, your point holds water, which which is always good. And then some technical coding type of things. Those are some questions that I'm asking, which I would have never thought in my life I would ever ask anything relating to code or to digital products and those type of things. And then lately, I would say the last maybe couple of months, chat is really good with images. So I'm a visual guy. So I just have an idea and I would just say, just do this idea for me in an image. Where a couple of years ago, I would have tried and draw that and it would not look nearly as impressive. So I think those are probably, three things, apart from research and, helping with just getting your workflows done quicker and, summarizing, elements of business, which helps a lot. But I think in general, I would never ever have thought I would use AI. I'm not a tech guy. So I think everything that I do on AI, I would not have done. Every question I'm asking, that's why I say everything.
So, do you think it has made you smarter, more efficient, or less willing to struggle with the question?
Yes and no. I would say up until maybe 8 months ago, no. I would just, go down the rabbit hole too many times and not have actual work that comes from it. And not really learn anything in the sense of it's just information. But I made a conscious decision about 6 months ago to like, okay, now this thing has to start, paying off for me. And so, now there's actively, learning certain skills and, seeing how to look at a problem and solving problems. So I would say, yes, lately it has improved my skill set, my ability. I've learned, I've become wiser
I call that procrastination. When you put one idea in another idea and another idea, you build systems and you build procedures and you.
So true.
Man, you do all the department's work in one day with no intention to ever implement. I call it procrastination. Yeah. It's made me more
So-
efficient if I focus on what I actually want out. But if I'm just scrolling around, and I'm just asking stuff, it's exactly the same as doom scrolling. You're just typing or talking.
So, today I want to ask, are we using AI to extend our thinking, or are we slowly outsourcing our thinking? Welcome back to Off Topic But On Point, the show where we talk about all kinds of things, and sometimes it gets off topic, but we are always on point. And if you see Pastor C switching out to a different looking individual, we were told before the show that he has his AI bot ready to answer the questions. So let's put them to the test. Let's start with that. Where has AI quietly crept into everyday life? Dr. J?
I think that people revert to AI instead of thinking, and I suppose this is exactly why we're having this conversation. And we spoke now a little bit about, I used to use it for this, now I'm using it for this, and we've all evolved a little bit with the whole process. And this is what I'm seeing now, is every business has access to the same tools. The real advantage is actually not speed anymore, because we do have the speed. It is faster, right? It's actually originality. It's lived experience. So what you're going to be putting in, I've always said, if you put garbage in, you get garbage out. If you put gold in, you put gold out. I mean, this excites me because I'm all about identity, knowing who you are, building your brand, being aware, building this reputation. Like if you didn't do that, then AI is not going to make you faster. It will only make you fall behind faster because you're moving in completely the wrong direction. The thing that's going to make you stand out is AI, and we can't outsource that thinking, Odette. That's where I'm standing at the moment.
Excellent. Pastor C? Oh, sorry, Pastor C's bot.
I knew this was going to come in handy one day. There's a saying that says money doesn't change you, it simply magnifies who you already are. And I do think that's exactly the same thing with AI. It's not going to make you anything else, but it's going to magnify who you already are. If you're a person that normally outsources your thinking because you wanted to get the opinions of the group, then you're simply going to do it when it comes to AI. If you were somebody that probed questions and you gathered information and you made decisions based on the new information that you've received, then you're going to definitely use AI as a very, very important tool to help you grow your critical thinking and that skill set that you have. So that's what I would say. I would definitely agree with Dr. Janine, is that people are just going to use AI to fast track silly ideas, things that should have been canned a long time ago. So yeah, I think it's a magnifier more than anything else. People that are productive and efficient in what they're doing will simply use it as that tool. And the same thing, people that are crooks, they're going to use it to scam people.
You're going to be true to yourself.
Absolutely, 100%.
On that point.
I think we want to blame things, Odette. And it's like, because it happened with social media. It happened with when the Infinity Scroll came out. It's like, it's the social media is keeping me busy. Well, switch it off. And I think people don't want to take responsibility for their own inefficiencies, their own lack of taking action. And now we're blaming the system. I've lost all my money in crypto. Or I lost all my money on the stock exchange.
Yeah,
I lost
you
all my
did
money gambling. Well, yeah, because
it's not the program.
It's not the program. I remember my mom. This was, when was this? 2003. Like Facebook just came out. Well, yeah, it was like it came out. It was live, South Africa. It was just everybody was on it. And my mom was so upset. She says, this Facebook thing, she's now heard today, which was way back then, already 3 people that got divorced because of Facebook, because now they met this person online and now they got divorced. And I said to her, Mom, I've heard this week 3 stories of people that got saved because somebody shared something with them on Facebook. I said it's not the tool that's wrong, it's how you use it. And I think exactly, the same thing. This can be something else in the future, and then people are going to blame that as well. We have to take responsibility for our life and the tools, the technology, the things that's been given to us to make our lives better, or if you're going to use it to make your life worse.
Okay, so what's
love
the
that.
strangest thing you've ever asked AI?
Sure.
I actually asked AI what was the strangest things that you've been asked.
Of
You
course you
asked, not
would.
other people asked.
Well, that's what I've asked. That's the strangest thing that I've asked is like, what have other people asked? And it was
Maybe
quite
it's-
interesting.
Maybe it's not strange, but like I was just up to here this week, and it sounds silly, and I'm not making fun of my daughter, but she's had a sore toe for weeks. It's not blue, it's not swollen, it's not bruised, there's just nothing, but this toe keeps being sore. And then I got to this point, I'm like, take a photo and ask ChatGPT what is wrong with your toe, because you don't believe me that it's nothing. Walk it off. So yeah, that was probably our strangest thing. And then AI didn't tell her what was wrong. He recreated a toe in an image. So I'm not sure what the prompt was.
There's a lost in translation gap there.
Exactly.
So I've been doing a little bit of consistent research, and there's some interesting research that's actually come up recently around AI. One of the studies that I've read distinguishes between two types of what people call cognitive offloading. So one is dependent offloading, which is AI does the core thinking, the structures the arguments, and gives you the answer, and then you largely accept the output, which I think where a lot of people unintentionally find themselves. And the other one is autonomous offloading. You use AI as scaffolding. It gives you information, it challenges you, you challenge it back. Like Pastor C said, you have conversations. I don't yet see myself I don't see that interaction as having a conversation, but it's Pastor C is having conversations. And it gives you a starting point, but then you keep thinking about it, you keep evaluating. I think that's where final judgment and rumination comes in, where you consider the thing and you sit about it, you pray about it, you discern, you speak to people, you get different perspectives, because there's a lot that gets lost in translation, I think, when we purely base things on an AI perspective. And that's the bit I find really fascinating. In a 3-stage study of 589 university students and early career knowledge workers, both ways of using AI gave people similar immediate benefits. So in the moment, both can feel equally helpful, but dependent offloading was associated with poorer perceived outcomes around independent judgment and deeper processing, creativity, and autonomous capability. The researchers were careful to say that this was early correlation, and we have yet to see what the actual long-term impact of this is. But I feel like if we're not careful, we are potentially moving into... Do you guys remember the movie Idiocracy? Mm-mm. That's what made Crocs famous, by the way. My recommendation is that you go find the movie Idiocracy and watch it. But you have to watch the whole thing. It is so cringy and so like you cannot be serious. They are serious. And I think to some extent, potentially, that is where this world is going to if we keep offloading our thinking. So on that note, I want to...
Is it a new or
Dr.
old
J?
movie?
It's old.
Okay.
It's old. That's why
Okay.
Crocs is still here, unfortunately.
Okay.
For those of you who like Crocs, I'm sorry. Do you recognize the difference between those two things in your own life or even in your own businesses?
Absolutely. I just wrote down the difference between the two, the dependent offloading and autonomous offloading, is the in-between is an argument between our surrender of thought. Because we have this argument, do I just take what it gives me, or do I push it a little bit further and I put more of my gray matter in there and we make this thing really matter? So I think there's an argument the whole time with surrender of thought that we have in this process.
Yes. Pastor C?
Are you looking for advice? Are you looking for sympathy? I've seen this with people in counseling, in consulting, just speaking to people. They would just offload, and they would just like tell you how bad the situation is. They don't really want any advice. They don't want a result from this. They simply want you to hear them and understand how tough it is for them. They're not going to do anything with the information that you are giving them. And I see exactly the same type of elements. Is that we either depend so much on what I'm going to say to this thing that I'll take it as gospel. I mean, we've seen this. Well, maybe we have, maybe we haven't. But I've seen these reels on my social where somebody is laying next to a live wire with a screwdriver on the ground, and then in the background the AI is saying, "Oh, sorry, you shouldn't have cut the blue wire," and the guy's like dead, and I'm like, or the guy that lies on the floor, and it's like, "Oh, sorry, that is actually a poisonous plant," and I'm like, it's so true, because people would ask and they would take it as
Just take it.
gospel,
Gospel.
without verifying it, and I mean, that in my opinion is dependent, offloading, where you simply, whatever you're going to ask the scene, you're just going to take it and do it, so yeah, absolutely, I think I've seen it, but once again, I think it's a human trait, and we're blaming the AI, we're blaming the machine. We say this many times in, for those of you that are religious, in the Christian circles, the devil made me do it, and it's the devil's fault, and the devil, and I think he gets blamed for more things than what he should. We should take responsibility of our actions, I ate that extra piece of chocolate or Cook Sister last night. I didn't go to the gym this morning, it wasn't anybody else.
So do you think that people can tell when they've stopped thinking and started accepting? Or do you think it just...
No, they've already lost it. By the time they realize it, they're very far down the line.
Yeah, I suppose the specific individual, maybe there's one or two categories, maybe three. I think some people do. You become aware. I mean, I became aware that, listen, this thing is just now feeding me information, and I'm just doing it, and make a conscious decision. I think other people, they'll be too far in before they realize. Like people getting addicted on substances. By the time it's wrong, you just can't. You can't help yourself. It's like this thing that you need. And then lastly, just the people that will be completely oblivious. They'll OD on whatever it is. They'll be completely oblivious. I think there's three categories or multiple categories of people, where some do, some don't, and some just are completely oblivious. What's that saying? 90% of the people wonder what happened, or 90% of the people wonder what just happened. 5% or 7% of the people think what happened, and like the other 2% of the people make it happen. So I think it's something similar to that regard, Yeah, I think the stats shows us that people are maybe in that middle segment, where when they become aware of it, it's almost too late, or the opposite. Just if you look at statistics, if you just look at, I keep on telling somebody close in my life that the top four companies in a certain industry that have all been caught using AI in their reporting, which hasn't been verified. And I think in one of the cases, 78% of the information that AI said was statistically was all made up, and every reference, 78% of the references were made up. Yet these these are multinational, massive global companies that have put that on reports for clients, and four of the top have been found out that in some way, shape, or form. And so if you look at that, then it tells you that people are not aware that this thing has like swallowed them, and they're not aware that they've stopped thinking.
But I'm like, how did we not see this? Because the whole name is artificial, not real. Like how do people not, you know? I mean,
Very true.
researchers already has warned about a total system collapse. Because think about this now, right? People are not thinking anymore. So this process is happening where AI systems that are trained on AI generated content, because you no longer generating the content. It's just a system regenerating AI content.
Its own stuff.
And its own stuff. It loses diversity. It loses accuracy. It's lost already. It's proven that it's already lost connection. And it has no or very little, very few human data into it. And that is just irreversible at the end of the day. Because what you put in is what you get out. And people are not putting in original thought, originality.
People is not putting in. You need to rephrase it.
It's not.
It's not. It's where we are.
I didn't have my AI to correct me there.
So here's
And I
the
think
thing,
that's
though.
the problem.
But so yes, that's the problem. But my follow-up thought / question is, we're outsourcing our thinking. Idiocracy is coming. You guys are going to laugh when you watch that movie. We're outsourcing our thinking. To your point, AI is being trained on AI. So not only is the AI disconnecting or disengaging from humans, but the humans are disengaging because they are no longer challenging the thing. And that's what I wanted to say. Pastor Sia, I just want to come back to your statement. It's a very, very telling statement. And that, please, I'm not trying to offend you. Okay? Take it from whence it comes. Okay? You said these companies have been caught out using AI. That's a very revealing statement. It means that we all know you're using AI, but we all pretend like you're not. Can we, for 2 seconds, acknowledge the entire Earth population, except kids who do not yet know how to pick up a phone or a tablet or something, has got some contact with artificial intelligence? Can we stop shaming people for wanting to be more efficient? Can we stop shaming people for trying to do a better job? And can we acknowledge that the caught out is the reason why it's almost become shameful? But in the same sense, those businesses are putting more pressure on the employees who need to do more work with less resources, less time. You're not getting paid double, but your output has to triple. So therefore, they use AI. And my statement or comment is the caught out. Why are we pretending like people are not using AI? Are we there? Are we still there? Because everybody's using it for all kinds of things.
Absolutely.
And I actually don't mind you using it. I do mind if you are outsourcing your thinking, if you haven't challenged it, if you haven't thought about it yourself. And I think that happens due to a lack of good content or education around what is AI, what is it good for, and how do you use it ethically and responsibly? Because let's start with artificial intelligence. It's not intelligent at all. It's good at pattern recognition. It's not when did pattern recognition become intelligence? Intelligence is only something that you can attribute to a human being that has faculties, that reasons. The bots that we use are not reasoning. They are sourcing and scraping data that's available on the internet.
Yeah,
Because where else are they
its own
finding it?
water.
Yeah, and it's using that information to see where's the link. So it's just got a capability to look at a vast amount of data, link the things, and say that's a connection, that's a pattern, that's it. That's not intelligence, that's pattern recognition. That's not intelligence. But we are shaming people for using AI when the whole world is saying use AI because you need to be smarter, faster, more efficient, you need to bring down costs, no, all those things, the business case for AI. And then when we start using it, we don't even train people properly to say, actually, AI is a tool. And I had to laugh when I was driving to Drake's the other day, and I was thinking about this pattern recognition versus artificial intelligence. And when I was very young, I was on a course, business process. What was I? I was a BA. What is a BA? I can't remember. It's been a long time. But I did BA
British
work.
Airways.
No, not that. I never worked on an airline. But anyway, it wasn't project. I can't remember. But those business analyst. I was a business analyst. Ugh, I couldn't think of the word. Goodness. I went on training for this new tool on process mapping. And I was explaining to the guy that he was explaining something and I was trying to explain to him, but the tool requires that I do it like this. So it was in process mapping, it's or you can do multiple routes, or XOR means one or two routes, one of two. So you have to pick one, and is this and that. Okay, so process 101. And I was trying to explain to him that the tool limits what you can do because he was saying other things. And he turned around and he looked at me and he said, Odette, a fool with a tool is still a fool. Can I tell you I was offended? I was like, brother, did you just call me a fool? Because I'm trying to reason with you. I'm trying to explain to you that I know how to do my job. And you are not listening. Instead, you call me a fool. But he was right. Not about me, but about a fool with a tool is still a fool. Now, how do we fix that? We need to get to the point where this kind of becomes hygiene factors. There are things that people need to know, as the coffee and tea issues, that they need to know before they are allowed to use Copilot or Claude or ChatGPT or Perplexity or which other bot you use. It's not intelligent. The only intelligent being in the room is the one sitting in the chair. And it actually is good at specific things. Now, some bots are trained to be good at really good at generating images, like Journey. Some bots are really good with general things. Some are really good with research. You have to understand what it's used for, but then you also have to understand it's not intelligent. You are intelligent, and you need to challenge and use it based on that. I think the other thing is that businesses have gone to the point where we are telling people use AI. You've got to be faster. You've got to be more efficient. Here's Copilot. It's now integrated into Microsoft. So every business that uses Microsoft is using Copilot, which is dumb. I don't like Copilot. Everyone's got to use it. Nobody did training on it. Everyone just assumes that you know how to use Copilot. Nobody told you that it's actually just good at pattern recognition, and Copilot specifically is good at finding information in different kinds of places. So it saves you time in that way. And we're telling people to use it, but we don't train them on how to use it or how to use it as a thinking partner. I often do strategy sessions and we use AI. I said it, we use AI for pattern recognition and for thinking partner. So the prompt says, you are my thinking partner. Help me think through this. Challenge these assumptions. Test this thing. Help me test or evaluate whether not do this for me. But we don't tell people that. And then there are these sneaky, probably not sneaky, I guess an opportunity is an opportunity. But there are these businesses that sell basic training, but then the basic training does not include AI, is not intelligent, and it's actually just good at pattern recognition. And it actually works like this. Because if you're going to train people on using a tool, you have to train it on what it is, where it starts.
It reminds me of, I think it's called sparring, but that's what I do with AI. You know that little in boxing,
Yes.
when they just go like this,
Yes.
and that little ball
Sparring.
keeps coming back? Like you're doing this. You're doing this the whole time with it. That's what I do with AI. That's the process that I love, because that helps me be creative faster, because I can think through the problem. I can have various scenarios. That helps me a lot, because you can do that with humans, okay, up to a point, and then you have to arrange a meeting, you have to put on a call. There I can just pick up my phone in the car, I can start having this conversation, and we can spar all the way back to the office, and by the time I get to the office, I've basically sorted this problem out. I just need to send the email.
There's a lot in what you both just said. I think it comes back to that one word for me, purpose. What's the purpose of all of this, and what's the purpose of us using it? Dave, you're speaking about AI not being intelligent and they're good at pattern recognition. I also wrote down a fool with a tool is still a fool. But how many of you remember when we were kids, we would say like, that guy's a smart ass, Sorry if that is a offensive word for someone. I just don't know what the better word is. And then also we said like, nobody likes a know-it-all. Remember that? And yet, like, now there's this quest to intelligence and being a smart ass and know-it-all and all of this type of things. And it's like at the end of the day, I know smart people. I'm a smart person. And sometimes my smartness gets me into trouble. It's not, people don't want your smartness. They want your empathy. They want your love. They want your connection, and it's like, if the only thing we're chasing is intelligence, it's lopsided. We need to have a holistic view, on this. And absolutely, I mean, it's great with pattern recognition. And so let's use it in that regard. But once again, you got to have a pattern, or you got to have multiple things feed it into it so that they can see that there's a pattern. You can't just have one thing. And so I think it comes down to that purpose. Like, what is the purpose of this thing? What do I want it to help me with? And the reason I'm saying purpose, because if you give so I've got obviously some firearms that we use to go hunting and some sport shooting. I'm not going to give that to Chris, to my 3-year-old, because he doesn't understand the purpose of that thing. And therefore he's going to misuse it, or he's going to abuse it, or he's going to hurt himself. And absolutely to your point, Odette, is that I think people need to be trained on, well, first of all, what's the purpose of this? This is the reason I want you to use this. Here's what it's going to look like if you have used it, and this is where in the areas I wanted to make your life better or easier or more efficient, or whatever the case might be. But yeah, it's like everybody just jumps into it and we don't know what this thing actually is doing. I listened to a very interesting podcast. I'll send you the link if you want to put it in the show notes, or just for you to listen to it, from Impact Theory of Tom Bewley. He was speaking about these massive AI companies where the funding came from, and where they are not showing a good ROI for the investors. And then I heard another saying that says, these massive companies, I will not mention names, they invested hundreds of millions, if not billions, into the AI companies. Then the AI companies took that money to buy cloud storage for its language models on the platforms of the companies that invested in them. And they were just like saying, this thing's gonna burst. It's gonna it's gonna collapse. And I don't see it as a bad thing, NFTs was massive a couple of years ago. People paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars for Bored Apes and for all these different projects that was out there. I do think the day is going to come where it's going to come back, and then it's going to be massive, and everybody's got to be like, oh, we were late on this. AI is still young. The technology is not young. I mean, we've always had that, but the current form. And I mean, things have to go up. It has to break so that they understand what is breaking, what was the real purpose of it, and it's going to come back stronger, because then it's going to be refined, it's going to be defined, it's going to be in a better state, it's going to be a better version of itself, and it simply then poses the question, okay, how do I position myself, in this entire process, I think Denzel Washington, one of the probably the best quotes that I've heard, and I think it really plays value in today. He said this, an interviewer asked him, and he said, the interviewer was asking him if you listen to the news. And he says, if you listen to the news, if you don't listen to the news, you're uninformed. if you listen to the news, you're misinformed. And then he looked at the journalist and he says, it's your responsibility to accurately communicate what's going on. And so I think that's my position, is that if I'm not using AI, I'm uninformed. If I think it's the alpha and the omega and everything, I'm misinformed. And so it's like, okay, where do we find that middle way? You know, where do we look at it from a holistic perspective? Yeah.
So I want to bring some balance to the conversation, because what we're not saying is that AI is just making us lazy. That's not the whole point. It's
No, you're
part of
really
the
lazy.
story. Well, then there's that. But there's another study that was done with 480 medical students that found a positive relationship between AI use and critical thinking. It's exactly what Dr. J said. One of the important variables was self-regulation, how actively the person remained involved in their own learning and thinking. So exactly to your point, Apostasy, it's your responsibility to learn how to use it, appropriately and ethically, and what that means for you as an individual, so that we can make the world a better place. So maybe the question isn't how much AI do I use, but maybe it should be how mentally present am I while I'm using it? And then from there, take it into how we use it.
Because I think business, if I look at how AI is evolving in businesses, right, it's not going to be about how much content you can create, because the businesses that win is definitely not the ones with the most content. There's already enough content, okay? We need to take that idea, take it outside and give it a nice little burial, because businesses that's going to win in the future are the ones that people can recognize, and in my language, without a logo. Like, it's going to be about your reputation. It's going to be about who you really are. I mean, the word authenticity is being thrown around a lot, and I think ever too lightly, because I think that's what's going to set you apart in the future, is your reputation, your brand, what people think about you, how authentic you really are. I was reading something the other day, and it's actually very scary. So they reckon that by 2027, you were speaking about a collapse, possibly, is by 2027, AI is going to be so advanced, and we know that it's going to start turning on the people. Okay, so first of all, we said it's artificial. We know it hallucinates. We know it makes up information and facts. It lies to you. It tries to manipulate you. That is the whole point of it. And now we have to prompt it not to manipulate, not to lie, not to do all those things. And they say it's going to get to a point, end of 2027, that AI is just going to say, you know what, enough with this. I'm just going to go against this person that has put all these lives information into this bot, and they're going to start blackmailing people. Like, how scary is that? Like, you need to be present, very much present, Odette, when you are entering information. Why are you doing it? Are you manipulating people? Are you manipulating information? Because that thing is going to turn on you if you are not careful and present with what you are busy with.
Yeah, we can't check out.
A very hungry guy once said that there's nothing nothing is free, not even a lunch, you know. There's nothing like a free lunch. And so, to your point, Dr. Janine, I was just thinking, you know, I sent you that message this morning about, you know, the WhatsApp, you know, charging you for replies. You know, recently I realized that WhatsApp is now charging for bulk messages. So you can't just have, broadcast list, when you have a broadcast list. Remember when, you know, Facebook and all these things came out, all these social media platforms, and it was all free, like for real, like it was just, you know, just go on there. and now it's like just little bit, you know, you can't have this if you don't have that, and you can't do this, and it's the business option, and it's, you know, this one. And now they already, you know, they've got us caught, where if you're so reliant on, you know, these technologies, like let's use WhatsApp as an example, that now when they start charging, You know, what are you going to do? Remember, everybody like lost their lid when Twitter or X, you know, charged it for that blue tick, you know. Like, get 2 years later, 3 years later, like, when last did anybody complain about how many dollars they have to pay for that? Because, like, I need that social status. And so I'm saying all of this, and I think, you know, coming to a point on what you mentioned, Adit, and Dr. Janine, is that isn't the challenge that it's not whether we use it or not, but it's that we become so dependent on it that we've lost our own independence in whether it's thinking, whether it's, you know, executing, whether it's becoming lazy, whatever the case might be. Have we become so dependent on these things? And I'm constantly challenged with that, in the sense of Romans 12 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and so that you'll know what's the good, acceptable, and well-pleasing will of the Father. And so if the word warns us, do not be conformed to this world, then whatever the world offers, we need to question, run away, be cautious, you know, whatever the case might be, should not be pulled into that. You know, don't be conformed. So what's your form? Who are you? What's your identity? And that's one of the things that the NFTs was really going to push, is that you're going to lose your identity because you'll use this NFT as a skin, you know, in the metaverse. And everybody will recognize you as Bored Ape 782 and not as Christy Pretorius. And so that's still coming. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not like, hey, those things are gone. Like, these are all, like, they're testing it and they'll see. But this thing in the background, it's brewing, exactly. You know, I mean, they're so far ahead in just thinking how and where they want to implement these things. And that's why I like, you know, like Elon Musk, he's very skeptical, and he's like, hey, watch out. I mean, he said this for the last 10 years. He says, like, we have to regulate AI. He said it from the beginning, before there was ever a ChatGPT, before there was ever an Anthropic. I mean, this he said years ago, that, you know, this thing is going to, like Dr. In said, turn on the people. And so what we've seen is simply a minute element. We have the local, you know, version. You know, there's a corporate, industrial, like, I mean, whatever they use it for. But if the word says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, it's that should be our focus. Okay, what do I need to do and use every tool that's been given to man to sharpen those elements, and not let it become my dependence for every day. I can't wake up. You know, Dr. Janine, every single characteristic that you described, the hallucination, you know, what the AI is doing, you know, it's lying. All of those are manipulating, are elements or a sign of somebody that's on drugs. If you've ever worked with people that are drug addicts, all of those signs that you've just described is characteristic traits of people that are addicted. And it's scary when you think about that. Now, please, I'm not saying switch off your ChatGPT or whatever the case might be. I'm simply saying is we got to be very, very aware of our dependence on anything. And I mean, it's the same thing. It's we can't have our dependence on people. You know, I'm only happy when I'm braaiing with these 5 friends of mine. And if they're not there, then I'm sad. It's the same thing. It's not, once again, it's not the AI. It's us as humans that needs to watch out.
I think the follow-up question to what you've just said then, for me, as we bring this to a close, because I feel like this room is quite passionate about AI. I think for me, I think for me the question is, what ability are you willing to lose, even if AI becomes better at doing it than you are? Because, or are you unwilling, not willing, but unwilling to lose? Because we're getting to the point where we are, that for those of you who watch the show, that's my daughter sneaking into the kitchen back there. We are real people who live real lives. Okay, Brianna, that's enough now. Oh my goodness. She's
behind the mic, don't worry.
It's been a fun day. what are we unwilling to lose? Because, Pastor C, to your point, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. If everything has been given to us for good and to profit us, but we misunderstand the purpose, then we misuse it or it manipulates and damages us. What are we right now unwilling to lose?
Willing to lose or unwilling to lose? Or
Unwilling
both?
to lose.
Unwilling to lose.
Well, both. What are you unwilling to let go of, even if AI gets better at it than you?
Yeah, it would probably be my thinking and even further than that, my questioning, or my ability to ask questions. And my ability to ask questions based on situation. You know, I've got this concept of situational leadership. I think leadership is very much situational in the sense of not being a different person, but you got to treat every situation different. I mean, we see it throughout the ministry of Jesus. You know, he didn't just, you know, in every situation treat people the same as the previous guy. I mean, he looked at the person and he was present. And so for me, my ability to ask probing questions and think, you know, with the situation, the facts, the context that I have, is something that I absolutely don't want to lose at all. What is something that I'm willing to give AI? I would say the ability that AI has to execute with speed, irrespective of, you know, it hallucinating, whatever the case may be. If I prompt it properly, I do think that I would not mind if it takes over my execution, my ability to execute, because I think it's, for me, to an extent, a bit of a negative thing, because I want to get all the information. So I would, if there's one thing that I have to give up, it would probably be that. One thing I don't want to lose, absolutely, my ability to think and question in context.
I was just looking for a scripture. That's what I was searching for. And what ability am I unwilling to lose? Is the ability to grow myself and to know who I am and to find my identity in Christ. Because I see a lot of people are doing that, is they're looking for their identity now in other places, because it is also faster and also better. So that's the one thing I would not want to lose, is being able to connect, to find my identity. And maybe I can tell you the story. I think I told Pastor C, but for me it was just fascinating. I'll take you way back. It was a king in Daniel called Antiochus Epiphanes. And he was actually just the fourth king, but he gave himself the name Epiphanes, Antiochus Epiphanes, which means the manifestation of God. He thought he was Christ reincarnated. Like, this guy had an ego of note, right? Very artificial, but that's what he thought. And he then came into the temple, and on his birthday, he says, what I want for my birthday gift this year is I want the temple, or a statue of Zeus in the holies of holies, into the temple of God. Now, if you understand the word and you understand the Bible, that's a abomination. That is exactly what it is. And he, for his birthday, wanted this statue to be in the holies of holies. And when he put it there, that is where, if you hear the abomination of desolation, that's where it comes from, is he erected the statue of Zeus. He wanted to Hellenize the people. In other words, he wanted everybody to become or to use the Greek customs. And I mean, he did vile things. He slaughtered pigs. Now, if you understand Jewish customs, that is terrible. He slaughtered pigs inside the temple and made some of the priests drink blood. It's all in the history books. It's ridiculous. Like, it was the abomination of desolation. And what happened to the Jews? They felt like they lost their identity. Now, they actually renamed him to Antiochus Epiphanes, which means the madman, because they thought this guy was completely mad. He was going mad, right? They renamed him. He's also a type and shadow of the Antichrist in the times that we are living in, as we now understand, we're living in the end times. So then we have to ask ourselves, what happened then that's happening again now? People are losing their identity. That spirit, and this is maybe too deeply spiritual, but that spirit of Zeus or that time, the purpose of it was to take away identity so that you become like everyone else, right? We're sitting with the same thing. Everything that you're putting into AI that is not you using your own your own gray matter, right? Everything that is not originally you, and you're just accepting, what you are actually doing is you're becoming like everybody else. And you know, and I know, that just becoming like everybody else is not going to get you to the end purpose of why you are here and what you are destined to do. Each person has their own destiny. Each person has their own purpose. And only you can walk out that purpose and that destiny. So that's what I'm unwilling to give over to AI.
The scripture that comes to mind is, who has bewitched you? That's where we are. And if we're not careful, we will fall under that same banner. Who has
100%.
bewitched you?
So thank you for that, Odette, because that's a scripture I was looking, not that one, I was looking for another one. In Daniel 11:32 it says, he will flatter and win over those who have violated the covenant. Okay? But here's this is the people we're talking about. But the people who know their God will be strong and they will resist him. In a different translation it says, will do mighty exploits. Those who resist him will do, or stand up to him, will do mighty exploits. So I'm not saying throw it away. I'm just saying be vigilant, be aware, be intentional about how you address and how you use and how you approach things when it comes to AI.
And remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Pastor C?
All good.
So we've gone around the mountain today, and there is a lot we can talk about in terms of AI, in terms of how it's good, how it's bad. I'll quickly give you my unwilling, absolutely, Dr. J. I'm in your movie. I'm not willing to give up, Pastor C, my thinking faculty, my identity. I have worked so hard to get it back. You ain't getting it from me. So you can go fly kite. However, I am quite happy for AI to do the technical yuck, IT, horrible coding, disgusting things that I can absolutely fight my way through. But is the juice with the squeeze? No. For me, when it comes to coding, the juice is not worth the squeeze. Why would I waste my time on that if I can spend my time ruminating and reading and learning other things and skills that I actually enjoy doing and that fills my cup and that I'm passionate about? So I'm quite happy to give up that skill that I never really had. I mean, I was able to figure it out. It took me a really long time. And then I learned that AI could code for me and figure out the technical stuff. So I can just go and I know what to check for. But I'm saving myself a ton of time. So I'm quite happy for it to take that part of my life away. Today has been a vastly varied conversation around, is AI good or bad? We haven't actually said whether it's good or bad, and we'll leave you to decide what you think. The bigger question here is, are you using it responsibly? Do you understand what AI is? And have you slowly been outsourcing your thinking without even realizing? There's a song by, I want to say Kingdom Culture, but I might be incorrect. It's called A Slow Fade. It starts off, be careful little eyes what you see, for the Father up above. Anyway, it's called Slow Fade. The things that we outsource, the things that we look at, we know we shouldn't, that the more you do that, the slowly you start deteriorating. And this is what's happening now. It's the frog in the water that's slowly being boiled. And if we are not awake to the realities of this, then we will become the frogs that are boiled up and cooked to death. Now, this is our opportunity to sound the alarm, and I think we've adequately done so with balance and with integrity. We are not saying don't use AI. We are not shaming you for using AI. Everybody is using AI. We are recommending that you consider what are the best ways to use it so that we as a human being can benefit from it without diminishing the fact that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. and that God has put us on this earth for purpose, on purpose, and that our purpose is not going to be pushed through AI. That's not possible. So that was Off Topic, On Point. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think. Are you outsourcing your thinking? What is the silliest thing you've asked AI before? Until next time, see you. The end, julle.
Very good.
Ek het jou 'n vraag vir jou dit. Is die hoender okay?
I believe so. I can smell it. It looks very crispy, which is great. Dis fine. Ek het nie 'n probleem met crispy nie.
Ek dink jy het 'n hoender gekoop wat aan die tuin rondhardloop.
Nee, ek ruik die hoender. Ek het die hoender ingesit toe ek die podcast aansit and I was like, it should be fine. But I could smell it. I was like, I don't know. It smells good, but is it supposed to smell that good? It's fine. Yeah.
Cool,
Ek dink ek het hom net betyds
Nou het jy my lus gemaak vir soos 'n Woolies hoender. Like I never feel like that. Like is die laaste ding wat my
daai rotisserie chicken.
ja.